Welcome back, guys, to another episode of Decentralized Chain. It's Faraz bringing you the latest news, reviews, and blockchain tech. So today we are going to be reviewing Machine Exchange Coin. Now, this particular cryptocurrency is launched by the MXC Foundation, whose sole mission is to inspire fast, efficient, decentralized data exchanges using LP WAN and blockchain technology. But before we go into the actual tech, we need to first understand what LP WAN is. Now, this relates to the Internet of Things. When we say IoT, we refer to billions of physical devices around the world that are now connected to the Internet, collecting, sharing data. Thanks to cheap processors and wireless networks, it's possible to turn anything from a pill to an aeroplane into part of the IoT. This adds a level of digital intelligence to devices that would be otherwise dumb, enabling them to communicate without a human being involved, and merging the digital and physical worlds. Pretty much any physical object can be transformed into an IoT device if it can be connected to the internet and controlled that way. This is where LP WAN comes in. It stands for Low Power Wide Area Network and is changing the face of the IoT by transferring data over areas the size of cities and not just over short range, such as with technologies like Bluetooth, 4G, or Wi-Fi. Batteries in these devices can last for years using LP WAN, allowing for long-term monitoring on a city-wide scale or larger rural areas. The MXC Machine Exchange Protocol facilitates the uninterrupted exchange of information between connected devices. The underlying blockchain-based MXC protocol ensures that devices connected to the internet using the most convenient LP WAN gateway lying in range. Fundamentally, it solves the problem of data collision, and the protocol can be run on any permissionless blockchain like EOS, Ethereum, IOTA, Stellar, and Neo. This is where MXC is different from other IoT and data tokens. MXC is based on blockchain, where only token that focuses on taking the LP WAN infrastructure and turning it into the world's largest data shared economy, allowing anyone to collect, store, and profit from this data. MX protocol infrastructure consists of both sensor and end devices, gateway, and cloud. Sensors and end devices collect data from things and send to the cloud via the gateway. Now, this is uniquely designed to specifically be a decentralized solution, allowing for everyone to suit their market needs. The usability of the hardware has been specifically designed as a plug-and-play solution, making installation simple without the need for professional configuration. Gateways connect to each other to form either a mesh network or a collective cloud or the internet. The sensors or end devices communicate with gateways using LP WAN technology for bidirectional communication. Notably, the sensors and end devices are not purely limited to a single LP WAN product. In fact, any LoRaWAN compatible sensor are able to connect to LP WAN network and can start sending and receiving messages. Looking a bit deeper at the technical stack of the MX protocol infrastructure, the decentralized and autonomous LP WAN can be built on, as mentioned before, any permissionless blockchain. The permissionless blockchain provides a way to reach consensus without relying on a closed system to accurately record financial transactions. We also have the anti-collision module. The coordinator has two responsibilities. The first is to make payments between networks using MXC. The second is to coordinate between networks about the downlink and uplink status. The other module is the smart bidding module. MX protocol implements a bidding mechanism designed to bring the needed resources to those devices that are willing to bid the most. And then lastly, we have the interchain data market module. This provides an effective method to feed the other smart contracts with LP WAN data captured by sensors or end devices. It uses the idea and mechanisms developed by both Polkadot and Eternity to deal with consensus, privacy, transaction delivery, and security. So looking at the token utility, MXC is the basic unit on Money Exchange Coin. This is required in order to both pay for the network usage and to receive payments from selling the data and services. In terms of the roadmap, it's a long roadmap. However, the first initial module to get this protocol underway will be released in Q4 of this year, with the subsequent follow-on modules covering smart bidding and interchain data in 2019 and 2020 respectively. Looking at the team, the core development team, which consists of Xin, the CEO, Vadim, the lead software developer, and Piotr, the protocol engineer, all have a background in hardware engineering, so certainly they know their LP WAN tech. Also, what is interesting is Xin is also the founder of Matchx.io, manufacturers of LP WAN hardware and software. So all three are currently listed as presently still working there, and this would appear they are managing their time between both ventures. We also have Aaron, the COO, and Jeff, the growth manager, with both having around 13 years of experience within marketing and business development. Looking at the advisors, we have Jeff Wernick, entrepreneur and private investor. His most famous investments in startups have been Bitcoin, Uber, and Airbnb. As an early Bitcoin investor, he has been involved in the blockchain community for a while and was also an advisor to Qtum. We also have Meinhard Ben, Satoshi Pay founder. So Meinhard is an experienced entrepreneur, open source specialist with involvement in blockchain since 2011. And then lastly, we have Leo Wang, founding partner of Pre-Angel Fund, an early investor in analytics, data, blockchain, and most notably Origin Protocol. In addition to the above, we also have Fenbushi Capital. They are also investors within MXC. There should be some official communication from Fenbushi to follow. Other notable partners from their economic white paper also states Stellar and IOTA ecosystems. In terms of the actual token metrics, MXC has a little over 2.6 billion tokens as the supply, and they are looking to raise a hard cap of $24 million. So 60% of the tokens are being released for sale. Early investors taking 20% of the supply back in March, with a lock-in of half of it vested after 6 months from listing on exchange, and a quarter vesting every quarter thereafter. Private sale taking around 30%, with a lock-in of 1 quarter vested after 3 months from listing on exchange, and a quarter vesting every quarter thereafter. And then you have the public ICO taking 10% of the supply starting in September. We then have 20% for the team, with a lock-in of half vesting after 1 year from token issue, and then 1/16 vesting every quarter thereafter. Lastly, we have the foundation representing 20% of the supply with no lock-in, and this will be used to fund the ecosystem, legal, marketing, and R&D activities. In terms of awareness and hype, they have representation on Medium, Twitter with over 1,000 followers, English and Chinese Telegram channels totaling around 2,300 users, along with Reddit and Facebook page representation. In terms of my final thoughts on the project, I'm giving this a 4. They do appear to be a first mover in the IoT data marketplace, making it easy for anyone to share, collect, and sell data for IoT. In comparison to their closest competitors, MXC is faster, looking to provide interchain data, has anti-collision, and target groups allow for a much wider spectrum of users. If they can challenge the competition, they do have an opportunity to achieve anywhere from 60 million to 3 billion market cap, starting from a hard cap of 24 million. That could be anywhere from a 2.5x to 100x plus return on ROI. This isn't financial advice, it's just my opinion. The other items also to bear in mind is that they are using the latest hardware tech in terms of IoT protocols, providing more range, capacity, and battery life over their predecessors. And finally, it's also worth noting that Xin also is the founder of Matchx.io, a manufacturer of LP WAN hardware. And this puts him in a unique position to also push out MXC protocol. For the prototype, I've given this a 3. Whilst I couldn't say I saw the MXC wallet, what I did see was very impressive and clearly the capability in the team to roll this out. So here's a little preview of the interview that I had with Xin earlier today. So welcome to the channel, Xin. I really appreciate you taking the time to come on board and really talk a bit about Machine Exchange Coin, your foundation. And really one of the exciting pieces is I'm always interested in seeing a demo of the platform. But before we sort of go into that exciting stuff, if you could just tell us a little bit about yourself and a little bit about your foundation. What are you all about? Where did you come about? What's so great about you guys?
Yeah, thanks for your review. So actually, we are MXC Foundation. We are a non-profit foundation based in Berlin, Germany. So what we do is we develop this MX protocol, machine exchange protocol, to really make things much more connected using LPWAN, low power wide area network. So what we do is actually we want to build such a global shared IoT economy to really let people to profit from covering cities, mountains, lakes, and profit from sharing their soil moisture, temperature, and location data. So it's all about machine-to-machine communication, IoT. So what makes MXC is unique and it's different from the other cryptocurrencies is we really have IoT that T things. So I'm going to just show you the things. So yeah, can you see this?
Yep. Okay. So this is one of your gateway devices, or?
This is one of the development kit for connecting all kinds of sensors. So you see essentially this kind of small module. Can you clearly see this? I think my face is a little bit.
No, we can see that. That's fine.
You can see that?
Yeah,
so this small module can connect to the gateway from 20 kilometers away.
Okay.
So this can be integrated into anything like bike, garage bins, street light, irrigation system, livestock management system, something like that. It's really small, like this size. So what I can show you is like a coin. So maybe the audiences don't know that it's 10 cents euro. So it's like this size.
Wow.
It's really small, ultra low power. It can run on the alkaline battery for like at least 5 years. Lithium battery can at least run 10 years. So yeah, this kind of thing can connect to various kind of sensors, create endless possibilities.
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that we have to connect a lot of devices to really make cities and farming and transportation smart. And this is another thing. So can you see this clearly?
Yep.
Yeah, so this is gateway. Yeah, sorry about that. So I think, wait a minute, I will bring another one. Yeah, can you see this?
Yep, I can see that.
Yeah, so this is a gateway that's from Matrix, our partner. So actually, this kind of thing can cover your vicinity like 20 kilometers away. So in Africa, in South Africa, some customers reported like 100 kilometers. In Spain, 40 kilometers. In Berlin, we tested like from 1 kilometers to 13 kilometers, depending on the city layout. Actually, you can easily cover the whole country, whole city, easily with this kind of thing, and connect sensors with this kind of thing. And what MXC doing is we can connect all of this kind of hardware, not limited to this brand, Matrix, but also can connect to Cisco gateway, something like that.
Okay.
Because non-profitable foundation. So a lot of people are building this kind of thing to let industries like farming, smart city transportation to collect the data and to share the data. So actually, yeah, so yeah, MXC is building this kind of thing to let people to profit from that. And let me show you the demo that we have done with IOTA before.
So just so I sort of understand, so with MXC, what you're really doing here is you're combining LPWAN technology with blockchain in order to be able to allow people to share, profit, and ultimately assetize that data and monetize it.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. We want people to monetize from their IoT network because before that, without blockchain, so this kind of thing is like isolated. So if you cover London and I cover London, so we don't know each other's presence, sometimes it will result in a data collision. And if I want to use your network, you want to use my network, it's basically a really nasty thing. You have to talk to people and sign contracts.
Okay.
Use your network, something like that. So with blockchain, we expect to see that people will start to buy gateways, not only from Matrix, but can also from the other people to build such kind of network themselves to really create global shared IoT network for everybody to use without signing contract, without talking to people. Just use your network as it is. So yeah. So can you see my screen?
Yep, I can see a screen.
So this is our website. So what we do before is we build our thing on top of IOTA, and yeah, it's MX protocol. So we're on the top of LoRaWAN. LoRaWAN is an open source standard that people can just connect this kind of thing. Can you still see my face here?
Yep, I think I might be blocking you, but yep, got it.
Yeah. People can connect this kind of thing to network using LoRaWAN protocol. It's an LPWAN, one of the most potent LPWAN protocol. So we build on the top of IOTA full node, and you can sell your home temperature data and profit from ultra long range coverage. And yeah, because we have this kind of protocol to reach consensus between different sensors. So eventually we can let the sensors to reach consensus, saying that you send first, I send next, something like that, with our MX protocol. Without this kind of thing, it's hard to let the sensors to reach a consensus, right? So there's no consensus mechanism or algorithm in LoRaWAN. So actually we enhanced this and built this kind of LPWAN network. So let's log in our LPWAN cloud. It's a Matrix LPWAN cloud, and go to organization. CD Tech is our partner that produce our gateway. So actually, yeah, you see they have a lot of gateways. They're sending a lot of packets. Here's IOTA wallet. So you see the seed address, and right now no one is using their network, so their balance is 0. And if the other people are using the network, so they will be paid. So let's say CD Tech covered the whole Munich. If they have covered the whole Munich, people using their network, so they will get paid. So the balance will increase because they share the network, right? So we can see that, yeah. So some of them in China and different organizations have different locations. So actually, if they cover some regions, so they will be able to profit to be paid by IOTA, and to see that the applications. So actually, they have a sensor that sends data. You see that they send data.
Got it.
So the payload is end-to-end encrypted. We can't see that. Actually, it's the sensor that we sell to them is sending temperature data, but we can't see it. You see that they're sending this kind of thing, and if they want to connect to IOTA data market, they can put the sensor ID here and sensor unit, and put the sensor name there. And if you go to data.iota.org, it will be something that they can sell the sensor data to the public.
And this is all happening using your protocol at this point, right? So what we're going through here is actually the MXC protocol running on top of IOTA, consuming that data, and then passing that data onto the actual IOTA data network.
Yeah, exactly. So we are a protocol. We can build on the top of any permissionless blockchain like IOTA, Stellar, Neo, Quark chain, something like that. Okay. So yeah, so actually right now we build on top of IOTA. We also build on top of the other permissionless blockchain like Stellar. So our ultimate goal is to build such kind of protocol that eventually to let people, if people have the app here for displaying in weather data in London, and it happens to be that the data is gathered in VChain or in Quark chain or in Neo and the other blockchain. So we want to feed the data from their chain to IOTA. So it would also be possible to really make this kind of cross-chain data communication possible using MX protocol. Yeah.
I see.
Yeah. So that's our demo. And we are actually actively talking with a lot of permissionless blockchain because they think it's quite it is quite promising, and a lot of people realize that this is really a global IoT shared economy, and it will stimulate people to participate this kind of thing because they can profit from sharing their network on the one hand, and they can also profit from sharing their data. So actually, these two silos, these two things, two pillars, will help us to expand to a global level in a large extent, I would say. Yeah.
So one of the questions I have is, in order to be able to ultimately use the protocol, you are going to need to have a gateway. So there is a hardware component that an individual has to procure, right? Do you think that might be a challenge for the everyday person to be able to purchase one of these gateway hubs, given the cost? What do the costs sort of range from, depending on, you know, I've got data that I don't mind sharing. I've got data in my house for example, my electricity usage, right? That could be potential data that could be used. I've got data from, you can even look at, say, Amazon Dash tablets. So those are how often do I need to get dishwasher tablets? How often do I need to order more, washing powder? All of that can be monetized, right? And so how does that type of, hardware component fit into it? How do you make it affordable for the everyday investor to be able to, because I suppose that could be one of your challenges, right? That if you can break into the general market, the people like me, to be able to share our to share our usage data of our electric devices, for example, then that's huge, right? Because you'll be getting lots of data coming in. I can see the benefit from a large institution, because obviously if you have a large institution, a weather institution, right? That's looking at weather across the globe, taking in weather data, barometric data, air quality data, water data, then I can see institutions, getting significant benefit from that. But ultimately, in order to get that, somebody needs to buy the hardware. And if the hardware is quite expensive, doesn't that work against you to a certain extent?
Great question. So yeah, I think it's also something that people, when use our MXC, would ask. So yeah, I think I can make it very clear here with you. So it's actually, if you want to use it, like you, a normal individual, like you want to share your home fridge data. So what you can do is you will just buy a simple temperature data sensor. Like can you see here? Yes. So this kind of module can be integrated to a temperature sensor like this size. So the price would be like just a few pounds, €5, something like that. I don't know. It's really.
But how would I integrate that into my fridge?
You can just store it inside of your fridge.
Right, okay, so we go back to the whole point that one of these devices can be powered by a lithium battery or a very small battery, and it can last 5-10 years. So I literally just leave it in the back of my fridge, and that's it. So in fact, okay.
You just pay €10 or £8 to buy this kind of temperature sensors that have a lithium battery inside and had the LP1 sensor inside, and store it into your fridge. And you will need to see that whether you have a LP1 coverage in your city or near your apartment. So yeah, so this kind of thing could be really cheap, and depending on the retailer. So maybe the retailer is Amazon Dash or Amazon something like that. So I believe that the market can make it really cheap because of the end users. They just want to throw a sensor into their fridge or throw a sensor on their bike, and they just want to share the data or something like that. So the end devices is not depending on MXC or Matrix or Cisco or something like that. It's really depending on how the retailers, the end device sellers are going to make it. So I believe that it could be really cheap in the future. And yeah, this is the sensor side, like for your normal user. So for the gateway side, if you want to cover the whole city with 1 or 2 of this kind of thing, so MatchX is selling at 350 euros. So it's like 300 pounds or something like that. So Cisco is selling it like, so you can put this, it's a IP65, so which means that you can put it outside of your apartment to reach longer range. And yeah, Cisco is also doing that. As far as I know, it's like 2,000 euros, something like that. It's also something that you can cover the whole city with 1 or 2 gateways, something like that. And we will also support Cisco and other gateways to let you to cover the city. So if you don't want to pay for this to cover the city, that's fine. I believe that a lot of people will build this kind of network and have a MXC wallet, MXC wallet inside of this to profit from users like you. You just want to put a temperature sensor in your fridge. You don't want to buy this big thing, okay. And on the rooftop, it's fine.
So there's a couple of different ways of looking at it. You've got the everyday user who may be wanting to sell their temperature data. You might have somebody else who then wants to profit on a larger scale, so they actually buy a gateway and become a hub to then aggregate all of that data back into the actual IoT data market, and then be able to then filter that back out again and also get rewarded on that scale as well, which I assume would be a higher reward than somebody
sure.
Feeding in, say, temperature data.
Sure. If you search LoRaWAN, if you search LoRaWAN coverage, so actually a lot of big companies has announced the plan, like Bosch and SANet or something like that.
Okay.
They have already announced the nationwide coverage of the whole country, something like that, for their own. So actually, they have a lot of network operators already, and they're operating in a lot of countries already.
Oh wow! Okay, so that coverage is quite. I mean, it's just Africa, I suppose, that doesn't have much. But actually, if you look around the rest of the world, you've got some significant. I mean, the whole of the UK is lit up in yellow, actually. So.
Exactly. MatchX has a lot of customers in South Africa already, okay. And MatchX has a lot of users in Australia, Europe, Russia, and North and South America, something like that. So actually, they are buying a lot of devices from Cisco or MatchX to deploy their network. So actually, there's all of these kind of small network operators. They only use this kind of things for their own transportation, smart farming. They're not taking into account to this 83. Since the 83 are quite big partners, something like that. So actually, this kind of small operators, they want to connect their bikes, cars, and farms and livestock, something like that. They don't have this kind of sharing things. With MXC, with MX protocol, they can really use cryptocurrencies to pay each other and to really share their network. So I believe that this will be really huge. So we would expect that big cities, big countries will be covered by LPWAN completely. And for you, the normal users, you just need to grab a sensor like Amazon Dash sensor or a temperature sensor that's sold by a third party, and to connect to this MXC global IoT network. And then use it, yeah.
So, just trying to understand how would I connect to your protocol? I mean, there must be others who are also taking in, I assume people like Bosch and all the other sort of LG, Sony, they all must be taking in IoT data for their own use as well. So, how would I connect to the MXC protocol as a regular user?
You are the regular user. So, if you are a regular user, you will need to register your temperature sensor on your backend. So you will need to register that maybe in MXC backend, like register a sensor with the information and then you can start to share this network, share the data, something like that.
Okay, so literally we just go on. So if it's, for example, if it's a MatchX product, we go onto the MatchX site, we go ahead and register our product, and then the rest of it is seamless. It will then start using MXC protocol in order to monetize it.
Yeah, exactly. If you register on maybe on Cisco cloud, or on MatchX cloud, or on Bosch cloud, so actually you will be able to just use it under Bosch network, or MatchX network, or Cisco network. So actually, if you travel from Germany to US to Netherlands, something like that. So actually, because we are all in MX protocol, it's a decentralized and blockchain network. So you can use the network. From the Bosch sensor, you can use the MatchX network or Cisco network seamlessly. It's like roaming. It's roaming everywhere. Yeah.
Wow. So in terms of next steps, what's next on your milestones?
Actually, our milestone is to really make MX protocol a global standard. So we'll push it, and as a non-profit, and we will release our first smart bidding module. So you know that in our white paper, we say that we are going to develop a bidding actually to let the sensors to bid each other. So actually, we think that this is something that to let sensors to bid each other for the network resource, to really make sure that the network resources is allocated to the right sensor. So actually, this kind of thing, we will build it first, and eventually the interchain data market. We think this is a very hard thing, and we see that it will be the biggest challenge in our whole MXC protocol. So because that the cross-chain communication, that it's a really difficult thing, and we are in talk with Polkadot, and they are also building this kind of thing, and they are quite excited about our IoT protocol. And I think that we can borrow some ideas from Polkadot to really build this kind of cross-chain data market communication, something like that.
So you're potentially mentioning, I mean, it sounds like you're mentioning potential partners in the future, right? So what partners can you mention? Who are you speaking with at the moment where you think that something could happen?
Right now, definitely Polkadot and Stella and Quark Chain and VeChain, and this big, they have great technology, great ideas, and we can build on top of them, and also borrow some good idea coming from them. Yeah.
Okay, fantastic. Well, thank you, Xin. I really appreciate you taking the time to really give us an overview of MXC, to kind of showcase the demo for us as well. I think you know, what would be great is to get a follow-up at some point to kind of see the demo taking in data, gateway data, and actually seeing the balance increase. Is that something that you're planning to sort of share coming up forward with us?
Sure, of course. Thanks for your interview, and I think we will really update you once we achieve some breakthrough or something like that.
Great. Yeah. Okay. Well, thank you, Xin. I really appreciate your time, and all the best with your ICO.
Thank you too. Cheers. Bye.
I hope you enjoyed that mini interview with Xin, and just to give you a bit of insight into what they're developing, and also that they have that unique footprint already within that space of around WP1 technology and blockchain. As you can clearly see, they have been doing some work with the IOTA blockchain in that space. The team, I'm going to give a 3. They certainly know their hardware tech. However, working across blockchains with their interdata module, I would like to see, or I would like to have seen, someone with core blockchain experience. However, I do like that they are in conversations with various blockchain solutions addressing areas of their protocol. For advisors and partners, I've given this a 3.5. I do like they have some key advisors who have been in the blockchain space, as well as advisors for other blockchain projects. I think I would need to see some key advisors who can help expand this protocol into the IoT marketplace for adoption. What I do like also is the investment from Fembushi Capital. In terms of token metrics, I'm giving this a 3.5. I like the token metrics, the lock-ins are great and certainly helps reduce the dumping effect, although I do feel the hard cap is on the higher side for a protocol, just my personal opinion. In terms of hype, I'm going to give this a 2. This is not a negative, we're just a bit early to the game. However, I hear that early and private rounds are already heavily oversubbed, and why wouldn't it be? They are rolling out a protocol on the latest LP-WAN tech to monetize IoT data for the masses. So thanks for tuning in. If this is your first time here, welcome to the channel, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button and share and like that content. See you soon, guys.